Design Thinking, lecture number 10. The theme of the lecture is Creative Collaboration, Testing. According to the plan of the lecture, we are going to discuss the following questions. The first, testing is an important stage in design thinking process. The second, methods of testing the new product. So, as you know, testing is the fifth stage in the design thinking process and a crucial component of product development. Testing is the process of testing your prototype on real users. During the test phase, you will see how the target users interact with your prototype and gather valuable feedback. Testing is the chance to get a product out into the world. Test is in real life and test it in real time. During this phase, you have a chance to see if you have framed the problem correctly. You will learn where your prototype succeeds and where it needs to be improved. The insights gathered during the testing phase will enable you to iterate on your prototype. Together, prototyping and testing add huge value to the design process. Not only does user testing help you to remain user-centric, it also makes good business sense. By testing your ideas earlier and often, you are able to identify design flaws and usability issues before you take the product to market. This has countless benefits for you, the user, and the business. When conducting testing, go the environment where the user will ultimately use the prototype. This is the user's natural setting where they are most at ease and it's as close to real life as possible. In this setting, their feedback will likely be open and spontaneous. If it isn't possible to conduct testing in this kind of normal environment, encourage the user to play a role, demonstrate how they would use the prototype in real life setting. Why it is important to conduct user testing? There are three reasons. The first, user testing saves time and money. User testing reveals unexpected insights. And the third, user testing improves your user satisfaction. Let's start to discuss these reasons more closer. So the first, user testing saves time and money. What happens if you skip the testing phase in favor of getting the product developed as soon as possible? You will spend considerable time and money correcting the product post-launch. User testing reveals unexpected insights. No matter how thorough your initial user research was and how convinced you are that you have designed the optimal solution to your user's problem, there are always new insights to be uncovered. Seeing a real user interact with an early version of your product will highlight issues that you would not have anticipated otherwise. User testing improves user satisfaction. What does it mean? Design thinking is all about putting the user first. By gathering first-hand user feedback, you can make informed design decisions, improving user satisfaction in the long run. As a designer, prototyping and testing will keep you focused on the user at all times. Of course, satisfied customers are good for business too. In the early stages of the process, testing will help you to get feedback on your initial ideas. At this point, you will use low-fidelity prototypes, such as a very basic paper model, to test out a concept. As your design starts to take shape, you will move on to digital prototypes. Low and mid-fidelity clickable prototypes can be used to test things like layout and information architecture without distracting the user with too many visuals. Towards the end of the process, you will seek to fine-tune the details of your design. You will test the overall usability of the product with high fidelity, fully functional digital prototypes that look and behave just like the real thing. Very important while testing to know how and what user testing method should we use. There are different methods and techniques you can use to test your prototypes. User tests can be conducted first in person or remote, and they may be also second moderated and unmoderated. So the first method, in-person or remote user testing, means during this method, you will be in the same room as the user while they test your prototype. This has several advantages. Not only are you able to control the testing environment and keep distractions to a minimum, you can also directly observe the user. You will privy to facial expressions, body language, and any verbal commentary the user makes as they interact with the product, giving you valuable first-hand insight into their experience. However, in-person testing can be expensive and time-consuming. Remote user testing offers a less expensive, more convenient alternative, but you'll have little to no control over the user's testing environment. The next method is moderated and unmoderated user testing. It is a good middle ground between in-person tests and completely unmoderated remote tests. Live remote testing allows you to observe the users over a video call. For example, you can use a screen recording app to capture the test, and certain programs will also track and highlight where the user clicks in your digital prototype. Unmoderated tests can be conducted via user testing platforms such as User Zoom, Loop 11, and usertesting.com. If you are short on time, such tools make it easy to conduct user testing quickly and with minimal effort. However, you won't have the opportunity to observe the users or ask them questions. Whether you choose to conduct in-person or remote user test all depends on your budget, time constraints, and the prototype you are testing. When you are planning a testing scenario, give users alternatives to compare. In this case, build several prototypes that are different from each other. It's easy for the user to tell you which they like and which they don't. Tell your user what problem the prototype is meant to solve and step back to let them experience it. Your job is to observe and take note. Get your user to talk about the experience of the prototype in their hand. Let them voice their thoughts. Observe how they use the prototype, how they handle it. This may help you modify it to make it easier to handle. When they comment, ask for further explanation to clarify what they mean. Negative feedback. In the design thinking process, negative feedback is your friend because it uncovers problems you might not previously have identified. It opens your eyes to difficulties the users are having while with the prototype, offering your insights into users' need. Remain open to negative feedback. To summarize the information about testing, I would like to say that in design thinking, the testing stage is where the solution gets testing by users in their real life setting. During testing, the ultimate user experiences their prototype without explicit guidance. For the design thinker, it is a time to observe how users react to a product and listen to their feedback on different aspects. If the user is satisfied with the prototype, then the design thinking process ends here. If the user is not yet satisfied, you start the whole process again, taking into consideration their feedback. Thank you very much for your attention.